So I'm very lucky to meet the two people which are deeply connected to juggling convention in the past time, and they are willing to have interview with me. Yes. So first of all, could you introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Susi Oddball, and I started juggling 46 years ago, which makes me a grandmother of juggling. But I still juggle, and I hope to juggle till at least I'm 100, so I can get a certificate from the International Jugglers Association too. Hint, hint. So you have another, well, I'm not going to say how long, but you've still got a few years yet.
Yeah.
And I'm still juggling.
Good to know, yeah.
I'm Alex Oddball. I've been juggling since I was about 4 years old, so 31 years only of juggling. I was born into a juggling family, so I'm a second generation juggler. I love juggling, I love the history of juggling, and I like to share what my mum and dad started back in the 80s and keep the progression of juggling going.
Nice. Yeah, I love the word like second generation of juggling. This is so nice. Yeah.
Well,
the story. Yeah.
when I was 5, I went to the Bertram Mill Circus for my birthday treat. For my mum, my Auntie Mary gave us the tickets, and my mum made a party. And so, when I was 5 until I was older, I went every year to the Olympia to watch the circus. And so I particularly liked the clowns, because they were musical clowns, and I liked music as well. And I liked the comedy. I also was a London child. At the time, I didn't know anything about animals, you know, wild animals being bad for the circus, but I loved the elephants. I just remember the elephants. And I had this dream that I wanted to run away to the circus. And I watched this film called Toby Tyler's American film, and he ran away and joined the clowns and then became a bareback horse rider. So my dream from 5 years onward was to be a bareback horse rider like Toby Tyler. The only trouble was I was in London and I was scared of horses. So later, when I was a teacher, it was when I was about 28, I learnt to juggle. And that's because I was inspired by watching some jugglers that were staying upstairs. They were coming from Geneva, they were street entertainers, juggling clubs in the light of the lamppost. And the sparkly bits of the clubs, it was like having lights, fairy lights in front, and it was so magical. And I said to the person whose flat it was, I said, I really want to learn to juggle. I must meet these people. And he said, of course. And I said, also, they are making a noise, and I want to know what the noise is. So I said, if I go up and complain about the noise, then I get to meet the people. And he said, yes, that's fine. So I went up, knocked on the door, and Max Oddball answered the door, and he had one leg like a flamingo. And he was holding the balls, juggling balls, and rolling them in his hand. I'm like, and I wanted to complain about the noise. So I went, oh.
And you forgot your purpose, like.
Well, no, I did. I said, hi, I'm from downstairs. Why are you making so much noise up here? I want to know. And he said, oh, we're learning the unicycle in the spare room. So I went, oh, you know, and I didn't really know what a unicycle was. Yeah, and I was just looking at him doing this all the time. And I said, do you think, I saw you juggling the other day and it looked really good. Do you think you could teach us? And he said, yeah, me and Bill will teach you to juggle. So 2 of them taught us to juggle. So I got to learn to juggle. But I said to the person downstairs to me, I'm going to put big cushions there and you won't hear the noise. But if you do hear any noise, it's me learning to juggle. And that's how I met Max Oddball, who later on I didn't know was going to become my second husband. Wow, you know.
Yeah, it's like juggling just make people together.
Well, it's the inspiration.
Yeah, it's inspiration, yes. You were actually first inspired at 5. Between 5 and 28, you were just watching the circus or also doing some other things?
I was a very ill child. I was quite ill till I was about 10. And then after 10 I went to a boarding school and I was doing quite a lot of sports. So I was playing tennis a lot, rounders and all those things that you do in school. So I was quite sporty, but juggling never came into it at all. Totally nothing in my life. So it was a real surprise later to actually be inspired by juggling. No idea.
Yeah. Maybe it's just unconsciously affect you, like you like it, and so you see again, then you feel like, yeah, I'm going to do that.
Yeah. Well, I didn't even know.
Did you see jugglers in the circus?
No, I don't remember jugglers. I remember clowns, but I don't remember any jugglers in the circus. And it was only when I was 28 that I knew about Covent Garden. I didn't know about Covent Garden, street entertainers, because there wasn't many street entertainers at that point. Yeah, in Covent Garden.
Nice. And how is it affect your childhood or even now, Alex?
I think somebody's normal is not another person's normal. So for me, I don't know anything else apart from juggling. I don't fully remember learning to juggle. So my timeline is when I was about 2 and a half, I learned how to do Diablo. And I learned how to do Diablo, throw up and catch it. So as a 2.5-year-old, this was I didn't have, my main toys were circus props, So as a kid, it was my playground was our shops.
Yeah.
So our Camden shop, which is the oldest running juggling shop in the world now, was made in '89, the year I was born. So it was I used to sleep in a big pile of juggling balls there, and this is my first memories.
But this is definitely not normal to many people.
And this is interesting because as I grew up, it was so normal for me. And as I met people's parents that were I don't know, decorators or builders or lawyers, this was so unusual. That you haven't gone to lots of festivals, you don't know juggling, you don't know how to unicycle, and I had to find my own normal in this. But to be honest, seeing mum and dad perform when we were kids, it was just it was so, we're all part of the show, I used to do the collecting of the money in the route at the end of the show, and we used to be in the show and do a bit of Diablo and juggling.
So at some point you also joined the show?
Yeah, for sure. We were doing shows from when we were a kid. But yeah, it was so beautiful. It was such a beautiful childhood. At the time, I didn't realize how beautiful it was. As I grew up as an adult, I realized how privileged I was compared to, some people that don't have this relationship with their family. But yeah, to be honest with you, my whole childhood was so special, seeing amazing artists and having the best jugglers in the UK and around the world.
You used to unicycle to school?
Yeah, I unicycled to school
nice.
from when I was 5 years old until I was 12. About 20 minute rides.
Uphill?
Uphill, yeah.
Wow.
But again, that was normal until I was 12, and then I realised that, it's funny, it was almost like I was in a different world for a lot of my life, because our normal was so unnormal that it was it was hard for me to be, it was normal.
There's a little story that a health visitor came to check Alex at the age of 3 years old. He put coordination better than mine, which was quite funny.
So yeah, growing up in the circus world was I feel now as an adult, it was an incredible advantage for me, because I saw all these different walks of backgrounds, from poets to musicians to jugglers to clowns, and let alone them being different upbringings, different backgrounds, they were actually my babysitters. And these people really had an influence on our lives, and as I went from festival to festival in different countries, just different joys you can have in your life. So rather than thinking you have to be this or this, I could be who I was. And Mum and Dad never pushed me to be necessarily a juggler. They wanted us to be loved and happy of who we are. So yeah, I'm incredibly thankful for it.
Yeah.
And as an adult, I had to go away from juggling to realise that I love juggling,
You love something only when you lose it, right?
Exactly, yeah. I was self-conscious about it. So I had to go away from it and let's play guitar and skateboard, and then I came back to it and I was I am a juggler and I want to look after the juggling world, and this is who I am. And it was like an amazing finding of it, because you know, many of my friends that are jugglers, they find juggling at 16 or 10, 16, 20, 25, 28.
28, yeah.
But me, like, I don't remember that. So it was always in my blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I always call juggling like a zen. For me, it's like my happy place. When I smell paraffin from the fire, it reminds me of Mum balancing an 8-foot unicycle on her chin, juggling fire. And at the end, she'd give me a kiss. And that smell of paraffin is such a like warm memory in my heart.
Oh, wow, okay.
Like, it's so deep.
Well, very warm, yeah. For the other people, what can make them think of mom? Probably it's food, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the food cooked
Well,
there.
funny enough, Mum and Dad used to do a routine with Teddy Bear's Picnic, where they used to eat food whilst juggling. So
Yeah.
my nostalgic thing with that would be my mum and dad creating a mess whilst juggling and eating.
So you actually already said, so you are highly connected to jogging. Like your father and your husband, he was the very first guy to run EJC. Could you tell me some stories about it?
Yeah, I'll just correct you. We run the BJC by chance in a way, because we'd already been doing quite a lot of group events. We'd done fundraising for a company that supplied wells to countries that didn't have wells, so that they could have water from the wells. And we did a telethon from Covent Garden to Canary Wharf. We were street entertainers, and we used to organise with other street entertainers and other juggling friends, and so we had quite a lot of connections with other jugglers. We'd organised all these events. That was just one of the events. We've been teaching lots of juggling, doing lots of shows, and we'd opened a shop as well. When we first started, the only place you could get juggling equipment from was actually from America, or make your own.
Ah, really? So actually in the past time in Europe, it was so hard to get juggling props.
In parts of Europe. So there was shows, but there was nowhere to get equipment, which gave us the idea of the company, which originally was called the Odball Juggling Company.
Back in Covent Garden, when Mum and Dad were juggling, they were selling out of the suitcase. So from there, they were selling out of a suitcase and selling to the other performers. And eventually this got too busy, so they started opening a juggling shop in their bedroom.
Oh.
And this is before the shop was open, so in the drawers we had juggling equipment, and in the cupboards there was juggling equipment.
But these suitcases, are they just normal suitcases or
A normal
for performers?
suitcase just full of juggling equipment.
My Auntie Mary used to get recycled material, and she used to make bean bags. And so we sold the bean bags, and they were called Auntie Mary's bean bags. And I remember when the interest came from the corporate, it was from British Airways, because Auntie Mary had made some bean bags that were their colours, and they liked that, and they said, oh, we want these as promotion for our company. So that started later with the corporate side. Also, our very first club that we ever had was made from washing up bottles. And actually, washing up bottles were quite balanced, but they didn't look very good. But then I got my first set from Todd Smith's in America. And then a Dutch company called Spotlight started to make clubs. And then we also brought in the unicycles.
From Sem Cycle.
But businesses don't grow for nothing. So I was teaching, and the money from the shows and the workshops, we would put back into the company, the small company we had.
Right.
So this is prior to the actual shop opening in 1984, so this is before this happened.
Yeah.
And there was 6 workshops running each week in different places in London.
Yeah. There was a group in London who used to have a workshop in Brixton called the Original Mixture. There was us with our Jubilee Hall. Before that, there was Tim Batt, who'd done the first EJC with the IJ. He had a workshop called Pineapple Studios in Covent Garden. Then he stopped, and then we had Jubilee Hall. And then we moved later to Blackfriars, to Colombo Street. That is where the first British Juggling Convention happened.
And that was in 1988.
Yeah. There was a few of us, there was a whole group of us. And as I said before, some of them were from Covent Garden. They were street performers
Right.
who helped us. and some were the jugglers from the workshops. And we asked lots and lots of people. You had to do it through telephone, magazines, all sorts of places.
For like advertisement
to ask
or
volunteers. Yeah.
Nice.
Because it was different. There was no internet.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
So-
So you get the registration from letters, and then you need to send it back or make a phone call.
Lots of people registered on the day, the 2 days we had of
Okay.
the juggling convention, and those that needed accommodation, we found hostels,
Wow.
and we also found families that would put up juggling families that would put jugglers up.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and we had different places for accommodation, which was amazing because it was in London and that was quite difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we, in our house, we had lots of jugglers. Every single person that came in, we clicked them. We had, on average, 1,000 jugglers each day. So we had 2,000 jugglers
For the
altogether.
first BJC, that's amazing.
Yes, there was a lot. We were very surprised.
Wow.
Yeah.
And like almost all of them were British, or also come
No,
from all the whole world.
Right, let me tell you about the volunteers. There was all sorts of mixture of volunteers that used to come to the workshop. Some were from Spain, some were from South America even, and I think there was one from Japan actually.
Oh.
But they were also at the workshop, but the volunteers were all sorts of different countries. And we had a main volunteer for our food was a man called Pedro, who lived in England and was juggling and unicycling in England, but he came originally from Madrid. And he organised all the food, and it was vegan food, and it was organic. And he had his own group of volunteers to help, and he did an amazing job. And I still like to look and say thank you again to Pedro. And then we had people like plumbers. You know, jugglers came from all sorts of lives, not just students. There were hobby jugglers from places, especially from our workshops. And then we had professional jugglers who clowns and jugglers and whatever. And so we had a mix of different nationalities. And we had a mix of different people coming from all over the UK. Yeah. And if you go online and you look at 1988 British Juggling Convention, it comes up with a picture of my handwriting.
Really?
It was all
Computers.
hand-drawn posters and handwritten programs, so you can find
Badges.
that as well. And one of the things that Mum and Dad did is created little badges for BJC, and you can see the badges online. But we remade those as well.
And the
so really
t-shirts was from a juggler called Katie, and they were UV t-shirts of juggling clubs and things. It was really, really lovely, and she did a great job as an artist.
Yeah, it sounds like super pioneer for like 1988 first BJC. You already had everything. Like
Everybody said that they enjoyed that BJC because they'd never really experienced anything like that before. And the EJC when Frankfurt was my first juggling convention, European juggling convention. All I know is I learned a lot from other people, you know, and there were some very experienced jugglers still.
So Steve Rawlings performed with me as well. Sean Gandini was there.
There was Andre Vincent, there was Reg Bolton, there was Stu Fells, there was Piers Halfpenny, and
Haggis and Charlie as well.
Haggis and Charlie came and did the show because we had a gala show as well. We had all the makings of the convention nowadays, where you have workshops, shows, small shows, renegade shows, and also the gala show for the public. But we also had workshops for the public to learn how to juggle, because one of my aims was to teach the whole world to juggle.
Oh,
to
that's
make it a better place.
That's sweet. That's very sweet.
I
Yeah.
really, really believed that that could be done. Yeah, we had Jasmine, Angela, we had Tony Anthony. Everyone who had a skill in Covent Garden came and did workshops. And you see that online, and there's a lot of different workshops from different people. Sarah, who did Diablos, and many people. And I thank all those people, because without them and without the crew, and it's the same now, there wouldn't be a convention. And then the people that came.
Yes, I mean, definitely even me as a participant, this is my first EJC and I met you. I feel so just lucky, and it's so good, this community. Yeah.
I actually started doing shows with my husband, who was a jazz musician, and our first show was in Holland. And then in the audience was two jugglers called Dr. Hot and Neon, and they were really famous jugglers, and I was so scared. But they used to play banjos and juggle the banjos and do the banjo tune. Yeah, it was really funny, and they were there in the front watching us. I remember asking Dr. Hot and Neon that first time. I said, "Are you inviting us back to your studio because we're not good enough to juggle yet, and we need practice, and you know that? Or are you inviting us back because you enjoyed the show?" And it was a real honour, because they said they enjoyed the show. But it took a long time to do proper shows, you know. And then after the split up, I used juggling as a tool for healing as well, because I was quite upset. I decided to use juggling and occupy myself and my son with juggling, and I think that was the best thing I could have done. The best decision I made was to use juggling as a healer.
Yeah, me
and
too.
I have used it since as well.
Yeah, me too. Basically for me, it's like doing sport is my healer. I do like football, but also I do juggling, especially cigar box. You know, cigar box is like a workout for your whole body, and I love it. Yes. Yeah, I believe it is maybe the same for you. Like when you feel something wrong, just go juggle.
Yeah, I've always called it like the Zen of juggling. So I'm not overtly religious, but when I juggle, I'm in this place where I'm not happy or sad, I'm just being. And it's really hard to find this place in life, you know? And like, whenever I'm stressed or anything, I can juggle 5 balls, and I'm at a point where I can just let go of a lot.
Yeah.
And then when you're in a flow state, because flow is different, right? So when I'm juggling 3 or 4 balls and I'm in a flow state, and I'm just like going with the movement, and you almost make mistakes, so you're not actually making mistakes, you're making new movements.
Yeah.
And you find new moves, and it's like, wow, it gives me so much joy when you can create nothing, or almost like a mistake into something new that's created a whole new move for you. You're like, this is crazy.
That reminds me of Steve Mills, when we were doing the Mills Mess, which was
The
really
creator
popular.
of Mills Mess.
I was privileged when I was learning the Mills Mess. I tried to do the Mills Mess, but I ended up creating all these Mills Messes, variations, because I couldn't do it. But I had Steve Mills standing there saying, "Oh, that's another trick from the Mills Mess." And it was quite funny, because eventually I managed to do the Mills Mess. But the ones I created for myself were mistakes.
Yeah, you get much more.
Yeah. I call juggling active meditation, especially when you're learning tricks and stuff. You have to think about the tricks, and you have to think about the learning. It makes you forget everything else.
Yeah.
So someone asked me what is juggling to me, and I said active meditation, and I stick to that, because that's what it is. You know,
I also feel in today's society, it's like a way to preach peace, because it's a universal language. You can go anywhere in the world.
Yeah, you
like
don't
I was
just
blessed
speak.
to go to Taiwan, and I was in the streets of Taiwan juggling, and within like 5-10 minutes I had loads of Taiwanese people around, and I was teaching juggling. I've been to India, the same, and I was doing street shows in the slums with actually rocks, not even juggling balls, and I had hundreds of Indians around me.
Nice.
And I had this tool to be able to communicate some of my culture and heritage that isn't national. It's not about where I'm from, it's just my physical art and the showing of, you know, what I have, and being able to give joy. I mean, Mum and Dad started a big movement which was Jugglers for Peace.
Yes.
Well, we didn't actually start it. There was a few jugglers that started it. What happened, there was an American juggler. They used to stand on the front line at Nicaragua. So in protest of him getting shot, Jugglers for Peace was formed. But it went to different countries. When it came to our country, we kind of promoted it with a badge, Jugglers for Peace badge. And we used to put it in we used to do mail order, not email. but the male or the physical,
Male, yeah.
and put a badge, Jugglers for Peace badge, in every single person's package. And I got a letter back from a couple of people in the army saying, thank you very much, we appreciate that you want peace.
I think there's two really good organisations that I'd love to mention that people can check out is PWB, Performers Without Borders. These are jugglers that go to refugee camps and places around the world that are underprivileged, children and adults, and bringing circus skills and essential life tools as well as, but also Flying Seagull Project.
Yeah.
And Ash is a really good friend of mine, and he works in 28 different crisis zones around the world at the moment, bringing juggling, circus skill, clowning and food and things like that to refugee camps. And he's very proactive in finding the right places to go to add this, because in your life you need laughter, you need joy, and circus and clowning is one of these tools that you can breach this with, and just check it out, and if you can support them, please do.
They do projects in UK as well,
Yes.
for underprivileged children, and they've often come to do shows and workshops, which is really good for the children.
They have
Yeah.
an interesting
Yes.
concept where they do parties, they just like normal kids parties, and the money, the proceeds of the profit going outwards
Flying
into the world.
Seagulls project.
The Flying Seagulls project, really, really cool.
And there's always been the man called Jules. He used to help organise the EJCs also, but he used to also go to Burma. At the moment he's going to Thailand, but he used to go to Burma until he was restricted, obviously, to do circus workshops there and other places in the world. And there's a lot of jugglers that do this,
Yeah.
independently. We're proud. We can be very proud of that as jugglers.
Super
You guys do really good things. So I just want to go back to how we started the company. There was also a point where, yes, it was in our house. We used to have people come in at all sorts of times in the evening and the night, in the middle of the night. We decided that it's time for a shop. So we had our first shop in Islington Park Street, which was North London. We had it in Upper Street first, it was a toy shop and a juggling shop. And then we moved around the corner to Islington Park Street. It was quite a wonderful little shop actually, but as you know with businesses, for the first few years, it gets a bit scary still. So we had to work really hard.
You need to
with shows.
survive, yeah.
Yeah, so shows, workshops, teaching, wages and stuff like that all help to make the oddballs really. And we used to have Saturday workers who became good jugglers in the end.
Toby Walker was a Saturday boy.
And then also the Danger brothers, Simon, Chris and Howie, all these young people. Our aim was to have young people work in the shop. And we had somebody from America that came to stay with us.
Cindy came.
And Cindy, but she wasn't working with me
Cindy Marble.
when she won the junior IJA contest. Because they have competitions and they give them a bit of money and stuff. And she used that money to come over to the British Juggling Convention. She said she met us in 1985. So it must have been about a year after we opened the shop. But many, many people have helped us on our journey. We had a big journey. We had warehouses still now, but before that we had other shops.
We had 14 shops in different times in different places in the UK.
True, yeah. And at one point we went to Canada, we merged in with More Balls Than Most. They had a corporate mind in a way, and they made these boxes and they put instructions in and things like that. And some people I've met recently said, I learnt from More Balls Than Most boxes. But then when we were in Canada, we performed on the street again. You must have memories of that.
Yeah, my two brothers and sister as well. So yeah, we were on a big RV and we would travel from place to place with crazy unicycles, four-wheeled unicycles, zigzag unicycles. Yeah, some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
And you were performing with all these people?
I was like 4 years old, so I was doing little bits, but yeah, just our memories of this.
I have a grandson now, Rubius, and looking at Rubius reminds me of the children when they were young, because sometimes during the show, my elder son used to help look after the children while we did the show, And sometimes the children used to look at a trick and tell everyone what we were going to do because they knew the trick.
Yeah.
I think Rubius should come in at this point.
Yeah.
And Carmen as well, which is Rubius' lovely mum.
Yes.
And we used to hold the baby and say, this is our future generation of jugglers. We'd have Alex, we'd have a little baby Lucy, and then we'd have Simon as well, my eldest son, and then my elder son, Chris. They all juggle, but Alex is probably the best juggler out of them.
And I'm pretty sure Rubius will be also one
Rubius
of the
loves
best.
juggling.
Hey.
Isn't it, Rubius? Yeah. Let's just go.
Yes.
So Rubius will be, no doubt, carry on tradition of juggling.
Yeah, it's a very lovely family here. And yeah, I of course see the future from the Rubius. But what do you think about the future of juggling, or even in general, the future of circus? Yeah.
So it's a super deep question.
Yes.
And there's no right or wrong answer to this question. But I think for me, one of the missions that my mum and dad have taken is getting more people to juggle. So when I say juggle, it's an inclusive word. It doesn't just mean throwing balls in the air or clubs. It's to find an art form with physical activity. With the internet and the connectivity that we have, it's such an important tool to use to be able to share the innovation and moving things forward. But I think part of the future is looking back into the past.
Yes.
And
totally agree. Yeah.
I've been collecting circus memorabilia and props only for 12 years now. But the more I look into it, the more I realize what we can learn. So I think first was preserving some of the history and some of this amazing stuff. There's over 4,000 years of recorded history of juggling from ancient Egypt. I'm sure there's some before. But in this picture of the hieroglyph in Egypt, they're doing 5 balls. So
and
I think
thanks to Karl-Heinz Stefanen from Berlin. It got all the pictures, but he's also got lots of old film footage as well of all the old jugglers that used to come to the BJC and the EJCs.
Oh,
and
wow.
a lot of jugglers have got educated from the old film footage. So make sure you take film footage because that's going to be for the future too.
But in the future, I think that we create more gatherings and more energy by teaching people that can't juggle. Because I literally know that juggling saves lives, it heals people. So the more we can juggle and share and use it as part of a therapy and a mental health, the less stress we get about looking at phones and computer screens and TVs, and the more present we are in the moment. Because juggling is such a beautiful thing, to be able to see someone's joy in their face, and they're enjoying it, you're enjoying seeing it, and it creates this effect of positivity and happiness. And I was talking to someone really recently about the word play, and play has no boundaries. And we get stuck in this society of computers and screens that have boundaries, that you can't go further than the screen. But with circus, it's pure play. There is no boundaries, there's no limits. So to realize in the future, I feel it's to not forget the boundaryless society that we can be in, and really embrace what we have now. We're super lucky.
It's about expressing yourself and creating art.
Yes.
Creating joy, togetherness, community.
And it isn't about how many balls you juggle. It's about how it makes you feel. Because we put a lot of pressure on us in society and social media to think that we have to be the best. But to be the best is just to make you feel good, or to show somebody, to teach somebody 1 ball and then 2 balls and 3 balls, and then to learn that's for me the best feeling that you can have, because it's something that you never thought was possible that's become possible. And as adults, we're so defeatist in the fact that we can't. The word can't is so debilitating. Where it's actually in my family we say practice doesn't make perfect, it's technique. We have to understand how to do these things, and we can achieve. And this isn't just for juggling, this is for everything.
Yes.
So the more we believe in us as people and how capable we are, the more we can achieve.
And I'd like to say, this convention for me is a relearning as well. Joey is inspired me to do cigar boxes again. So education doesn't stop when you get older. It carries on, which is amazing. And for me, that's the future. If we can educate people to just love and have a passion for juggling, I think that we will make a better world. People come up to you when you've done shows years later and say, oh, here's my grandchildren, they want to see your show now. So they've had 2 generations of people watching your shows and enjoying it. And it's up to us to give that laughter and joy to those people and to the whole world. We need it.
Yes. Oh, this is like the perfect conclusion, I think.
If you ever want to hear it.
Yes. Thank you.
I'm sure everybody does.
Yes. Thank you very much.
So lovely. Oh,
Thank you.
it's so lovely to meet you.
Yes. So it's very nice to feel meet your family, and yeah.
The best family.
I can do a little bit of a juggle for you now.
Oh yeah, sure.
God damn. Have you got balls?
Yes. Whoa, amazing, Alex.
Slightly rough around.
Okay.
Ready?
And
No, wait, you
Our
got
Rufus
this.
is going to do a trick.
Oh yeah, sure. Let's go.
Ready?
Yeah.
You do it. Ready?
Go.
Ready? Go on, you got this. Yay!
This is the future.
Woo!
Nice. Okay. Yeah, cool. So.